Hi everyone, welcome to my presentation on my Community Hub. This is the first phase of a multi-phase package that I'll be discussing over the course of the next 13 weeks or so. I'm going to begin with a brief discussion on some of the background research I've done, and then I'm going to talk a bit more about my design in greater detail and some of the work I've done with my drawings and diagrams. I really started off this phase by taking a close look at what community really means, and I stumbled across this analogy of a waterhole that I found really quite powerful. The idea that all of these animals coming together to share water really made me think about the idea of sharing in the community and how important that is. I also started to initially look at some precedents of community hubs based around the concepts of amenities, transparency and circulation of movement, and how important the landscape is. When I went back to look at the notion of community, I was really drawn to the idea of sharing and how that could impact on society. It made me begin to question about what we as a community should be sharing, and started to play around with the idea of a fully resolute capacity for sharing that was based on the idea of body, mind and soul. This was really because I wanted to include as many demographics as possible to my community hub and not leave anyone out. Sharing can obviously impact lives in a profound way, and by sharing with the largest number of the community possible, this was going to be the most beneficial way to help everyone. I started to come back to the idea of the waterhole as a means to draw people together, and I looked into the way that water has a psychological draw to people and how this might connect with my landscape. I started to look at the movement of water, how it could be both calm and reflective, but also encouraging for movement and exploration. With these ideas in mind, I then looked more deeply at precedents of other community hubs, also libraries and sports centres. What I found was that, one, these complexes are often very large, between 2,000 and 4,000 square metres, but secondly, they're also very public with very few private spaces. I also started to appreciate the various amenities that would be required outside of the three specific spaces I'd identified, being a library, swimming pool, and community kitchen and garden. So by taking these three concepts of mind, body and soul and translating them to the physical amenities of a library, swimming pool and kitchen, I began to look at how they might fit together and how the joining of them, the sharing of ideas and amenities, the coming together of the different people with different interests was of utmost importance to my hub. It was this centralized sharing that I tried to focus on, trying to bring all these people together as one. The central courtyard became a focus, and this relationship between different groups to have something for everyone, so everyone had a shared experience. With this research behind me, I was able to use this knowledge and precedents to plan my space. As a large complex, I really tried to keep the scale of design feeling as small as possible to foster a village feeling. Creating separate spaces for each of the main amenities was a simple way to achieve it, and it then allowed me to look at ways to bring the people who are drawn to these different amenities out into a central courtyard with shared amenities of a communal eating area, a large seated area for reading, relaxing and socialising, and a wading pool for children. I feel in this way the vastly different targeted demographics are drawn towards each other. In the bottom image, you can see all these spaces opening out towards each other, which both requires people to go through the shared spaces before their destination and also after. I really tried to convey in my elevations and also my sections this idea of depth, that the building is not just exterior walls, but a portal through to another space, a place of sharing, a place for everyone, and ultimately completely accessible for everyone in the community. For my final drawings, I wanted to try to bring together these ideas of circulating space, how these spaces were related, how they were distinct, and also how they melted into a single shared space. I really wanted to show through my research of precedents, the command of amenities the space really has, and the volumes required for activities, and the reasoning behind the design's form. Just to finish off, I've included some images of some of the models that I've done over the course of the last 4 weeks, just looking at some of the massing and concepts that I've done, including my final design.